What's going on? It's Ethan with Three Wine Sports, and that is right. We are back on YouTube today, and this is huge news. I had to get on here to talk about this. This is a seriously big deal in the world of sports, the world of basketball, the world of NBA basketball. To the point where I couldn't just sit down and write a blog about it. I had to talk about it. This is one of the craziest days in recent basketball history. If you really think about it, but again, at the same time, it's not just because of the person at hand. Of course, I'm talking about the Kevin Durant trade request that went through today. Woj bomb earlier today that Kevin Durant had requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Do you remember like a week ago whenever it came out that Kevin Durant would leave if Kyrie left? Well, then Kyrie didn't leave. Kyrie accepted his player option. Kyrie is back for next year. So you thought that Kevin Durant would be back too, and he's not. So it never mattered that Kyrie was going to leave or stay. Kevin Durant does not want to be a Brooklyn Net next year. He probably hasn't wanted to be a Brooklyn Net for a while now, and now he has requested a trade. And seemingly the biggest names on the market for him are Miami and Phoenix. Now, I'm praying that he doesn't go to Phoenix because they will win the championship. And I don't like Chris Paul, and I don't want them to win. I don't like the Phoenix Suns. I don't want them to win a championship. And the other one's Miami, and I really don't care if they win a championship, but their entire future is going to be gone if they do this trade. And of course, again, they'll be immediate favorites to win it. Him and Jimmy is a crazy duo, much better duo than him and Kyrie or him and James Harden. I just think that is a better duo for winning basketball games. And so, yeah, if he goes to Miami, I'm not going to be butthurt about it. I will be if he goes to Phoenix. I'm not excited if he goes to Phoenix. Um, but don't be surprised if he lands at a totally different place. Brooklyn is going to be taking the best offer, and I guarantee you every single team will send an offer in. Whether or not they think it's a good one or a bad one, they'll send it in just in case. Every single team will send an offer in for Kevin Durant, whether or not they're win now, they're rebuilding, it will happen. Every single team. So, whether or not you think he'll end up as an OKC Thunder next year, then that could happen as well. It literally any possibility could happen. It all depends on who offers what and what Brooklyn wants. Kevin Durant, what he wants, which from what we've learned is Phoenix and Miami, like I said, is not really going to matter. It's what Brooklyn can get because Kevin Durant does not matter as a human to Brooklyn. His trade wants do not matter to them. He has not given that team his career, his loyalty. No, he's been there for 3 years, but really two because he only played two. They're gonna get what they can get, and at the end of the day, Kevin Durant's gonna be gone. Kyrie's gonna be back. Ben Simmons gonna be back. The Nets are probably not gonna be very good, but you really have to realize how big of a failure this Nets team has been. One of, if not the biggest failures in NBA history. It is monumental how bad this team has been compared to what they were supposed to be. So of course Kevin Durant gets there 3 years ago. Kyrie gets there 3 years ago. They sit out. They're injured. Everybody knew they were not going to play that first year. Whatever. They were banking on the fact that when they did come back, that would be a very very good team. So the 2 years ago, Kevin Durant comes back. Kyrie's playing. They're okay. They trade for James Harden halfway through the season, and that was it. That was supposed to be it. The team was supposed to be unbeatable at that time. Um, the idea that a team of two former MVPs who were still kind of in their primes. I mean, Kevin Durant is still definitely in his prime, no matter how old he is. He probably will be in his prime for a couple more years. Um, Kyrie, of course, never an former MVP. Look, that team was about as super teamish as you can get a super team, and everybody thought they were going to win countless championships as long as they stayed healthy. And there's a crux right there. As long as they stayed healthy, everyone should have realized that this team was never going to stay healthy. Kevin Durant cannot stay healthy. James Harden cannot stay healthy. Kyrie is here and there when it comes to injuries, but him too, and they all use load management, and you will never get a full season out of those three guys. You will never get a good seed in the playoffs because you're never going to see those guys together. In the 2 seasons that those three guys played together, they played together in 16 games. 16 games. You're never going to get a good playoff seed when your top three guys have only played together 16 times. And when you get to the playoffs and those three guys are expected to play together every night, they don't know what they're doing because they don't have experience playing together and they lose. So 2 years ago, they get the second seed because that was their best. I mean, the 2 year ago season, when KD, Kyrie, and Harden all seemed like they were in to win, that was their best stretch. Was after they got James Harden, and they get the 2 seed, and they get beat by the Bucks in the second round. And I'll give it to them; it was a tight loss. That they were very close to winning that series. KD makes a shot that if it were a three, they would have won the series. It ended up being a two. His foot was on the line. That they were that close. And of course, that Bucks team goes on to win the championship. So you have to assume that if the Nets win, they could have very well won the championship. But look, that didn't happen. So there's a failure. I mean, that team not getting out of the second round is a failure. That good of a team not leaving the second round should not happen. It shouldn't happen. And so the next year they come back. Let's run it back, and obviously the whole vaccine status thing happens. Of course, and Kyrie can't play home games, and um and he can't play in some away games, and KD's sitting out for a large portion of the season, and James Harden's sitting out for significant portions of the season, and it's just never a recipe that's going to work. And by pairing these three guys in particular together, you knew it was never going to work. KD, gotta love him. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He is a guy who you cannot rely on unless the team around him is very, very good because he's going to get injured. He's going to use load management. He's not a big of a diva as the other two guys, but he is a diva, and that's not great for chemistry. He's a guy who's on multiple occasions said he does not like being the leader on a team, despite the fact that he's going to be the best player on any team he's on, and his leadership is probably necessary for that team to go deep in the playoffs and win. So that's not good. And then you have James Harden, who literally made himself fat to get out of the team that has given him everything in Houston to come to Brooklyn, and he is a diva. He's a crazy person, not a good chemistry person, seemingly not a very nice guy. And then you have Kyrie, who's probably the craziest guy in the league, who absolutely ruined his relationship in Boston, left Cleveland when he probably shouldn't have, and comes to Brooklyn. And what do you expect from him? How do you expect anything better from him in Brooklyn than what Boston got from him and what Cleveland got from him at the end when he was turning crazy? I mean, he's a guy who's also going to be getting injured regularly, and a guy who's going to be using load management, and a guy who you cannot rely on in the locker room. Not a good chemistry guy, not a team first guy. None of these three guys are team first guys. They're just not. And putting them all on the same team was a recipe for disaster from the beginning. And the fact that we didn't see it is mind-boggling. The idea that we never saw this coming when they first put the pieces together is shame on all of us, because everyone should have seen this coming. Everyone. James Harden gets traded halfway through the season last year. It's over. Everyone thought that they had a chance in the playoffs. It was over then, because they get to the playoffs and they don't know how to play together because they don't play together because Kyrie Irving hasn't played half of the season. It was never going to work. KD has requested a trade. He's out. Kyrie's going to be back for one more year maybe. He's gone too. This is going to be Ben Simmons' team. Do Nets fans want that? Probably not. So for the Nets, this is a major L. The entire experiment is a major L. Do you remember that super fun Nets team that we got to see before KD and Kyrie landed in Brooklyn? That team that always was having fun on the sidelines. The D'Angelo Russell All-Star team. I mean, they weren't the greatest, but they were fun, man. And if you're not going to win with this group, why just not keep that group? I mean, if you had thought about it from the beginning, you should have known this team was never going to win. And you should have known, why don't we keep the young guys that are having fun instead of wasting away our entire future for guys who are not going to win us a championship, who are going to screw over our franchise, one of the worst franchises in NBA history, mind you, of all time. They just had one of the biggest failures of all time right in their hands. This whole thing is ridiculous. KD's gone. Kyrie's gone pretty soon. James Harden's gone. The whole thing's a failure, one of the biggest failures in NBA history. I'm curious to see where KD goes next. I'm not going to be making predictions about where he goes, just like how I didn't make predictions about what Kyrie was going to do, because these are guys you do not know what they're going to do. These guys are crazy people, lunatics. You never know what they're going to do. But for the time being, I guess KD's on the trade market, and it's going to be pretty awkward in Brooklyn for a couple of weeks probably. Um, Thanks for watching this video. That's really all I have to say about it. I wanted to bring up the topic and just talk about how big of a failure this entire Nets experiment was. But thanks for watching. I appreciate the view. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I know that's asking a lot for a channel that doesn't post very often, but I want to try to post more often. This whole thing was spurred by me seeing the news and me being like, wow, I need to record a YouTube video for it. So go ahead and subscribe, like the video. More podcast episodes are coming soon. I've been very, very busy this summer, but I'm going to try to focus some more time. It's not that hard to do podcasts. I'm pretty lazy, but I'm trying not to be. So yeah, like, subscribe, tune in for more. I promise I will be back sooner than later. See ya.